Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at the Linde Werdelin SpidoSpeed, 44 millimeters in matte and brushed stainless steel. This 1 of 100 limited edition represents a Danish inflected challenge to the segment hegemony of Audemars Piguet and Hublot in the oversized sports watch segment. Now, established by Morten Linde and Jorn Werdelin in 2002, Linde Werdelin, which focuses on functionality, high style, modularity, and limited supply, has risen to become a sort of underdog challenger to the dominant forces AP and Hublot, manufacturing modern, aggressive, technically styled, oversized sports watches. And the first difference maker is the fit. You can see that although my wrist is 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, I'm getting a very secure fit and a very close fit from this combination of hybrid calf skin and technical fiber strap and a skeletonized bipartite stainless steel case. Although 44 millimeters in diameter across its round portion, the bottom line is you can see that the lugs are so short that they don't even project close to the edge of my skin. On both sides, my wrist flares out beyond the limits of those lugs, and so the strap actually has to flare out to curve along the outer circumference of my wrist. And my wrist is fairly small for a guy. So if I can wear this watch comfortably, I feel that someone with a wrist as small as maybe 14 centimeters, maybe around 5.5 inches, could easily wear this watch comfortably. And a big part of that is not just the fit of the strap and the sizing of the case, but the fact that Linde Werdelin, more than AP and Hublot, goes to extreme lengths to recreate the lightweight space frame of modern high-rise architecture, of modern high-performance cars. And that's evident in the case. Now on this, the second generation Spido, first generation SpidoSpeed Chronograph, there are two portions of the case. The inner portion, which is round and solid and contains the movement, and the outer portion, which is heavily relieved and skeletonized, that acts as a guard for the crown and the pushers, and also a point of connection for the strap itself. And if you'd told me this watch on my wrist is titanium, I would have believed it, because so light is this steel watch that it's almost a shock to realize it isn't some sort of exotic material. It's not magnesium, it's not aluminum, zirconium, or titanium. But Linde Werdelin, with a steel watch, achieves what most require exotic materials to achieve. And that's part of their design philosophy. Being unconventional, doing it at good value, and keeping it low volume in the process. Low volume and also low weight. Now when I talk about functionality being a major part of the Linde Werdelin philosophy, I mean functionality on every level. Naturally, the watch itself features abundant crown guards and actually features recessed pushers for extra protection against impact. The watch features 100-meter water resistant, so it is a chronograph that can get wet. You don't have to worry about that. And there is a hidden aspect of functionality here. Although if you look at the flanks of the case and you look at these horns at 3 and 9 o'clock, you begin to understand the logic. There is a set of computers. One is a dive computer, one is a land sports, for instance, skiing computer. Respectively, they're known as the reef for water sports and the rock for land sports. And they take the functionality of a classic sports or professional watch into the 21st century. Each one is a high-tech computer in every respect. It's what you would want if you were depending on your dive instrument while diving with the tank. It's what you would want if you were a hardcore cross-country skier. The bottom line is, today's dive watches, for the most part, today's sports watches, almost generally, rely on technology pioneered during the middle of the 20th century to add functionality. For the sake of functionality and through a system of modularity, Linde Werdelin allows you to upgrade either its Octopus water watches or its Spido land sports watches to the level of functionality you would get from a modern computerized dive instrument. And when you're done, you simply take the module off and it's a traditional handmade mechanical watch once again. That's the beginning of the modularity philosophy. The next part is modularity of the strap, the buckle, and the interchangeability thereof. These bolts right here, allow the user to easily and without any specialized tools swap the straps at his leisure to suit his taste. This is something that's still uncommon in the sports watch sector, but what it does in conjunction with Linde Werdelin's huge array of optional colors, materials, and shapes is it gives you the ability to change the fundamental look of the watch. Likewise, Linde Werdelin offers different types of pin buckles as well as deployant clasps on its website, so you can even change the way the watch fits and interfaces with your wrist. Again, that's modularity. Like another great Danish invention, Legos, Linde Werdelin essentially gives you the flexibility to build your vision of what the SpidoSpeed should be. Now, inboard of the case, which, as I stated, is inspired by Formula One, by modern race cars, by the space frames of modern high-rise buildings, you move inboard through the different layers of relieved metals and you arrive at a dial that is bipartite, has depth and luster, and easy legibility by virtue of light printing on a black backdrop. But the first level of material is skeletonized. It includes the subdials, and it includes the skeletonized hour and minute tracks. Now, below that is a layer of black, tightly woven 12K carbon fiber, and this carbon fiber is essentially the backdrop to the skeletal window frame, if you will, created by the upper dial. So just like the case itself, layered, modular, and skeletonized revelation of underlying elements dominate the design theme that Linde Werdelin has proposed, and it works very effectively because legibility isn't compromised, but at the same time you have a depth, you have a variation in texture and material that's intriguing. It's something you'll want to go back to appreciate time and again, something you'll show to friends, other collectors. Visually, it's arresting, it's artistic, but it's also true to the notion of a sports watch in the modern idiom. Now on the case back, you can see, skeletonized, Linde Werdelin uses a custom-made caliber based on the Valjoux 7750, and they call this the LW03. It's built for them by movement specialist Concepto. Again, it is based on the template of the Valjoux 7750, but the decoration is distinctive, alternately brushed, polished, and gray PVD coated. There's a lot going on here, and the highlights of the brass-coated wheels, of the polished elements, of the ruby pivot jewels of the train and the winding system, they really stand out and add visual interest here. And I feel that for what it is, a rugged, tough, automatic winding sports watch movement, the finish is absolutely acceptable. And given the track record of the Valjoux 7750 and sports watches, I think the fundamental architecture is perfectly suited to this SpidoSpeed. Now it is a 4 Hz movement, so 28,800 vibrations per hour, the modern standard. Automatic, it's basically a set it and forget it system, and you have the functionality of a chronograph, arguably the king of complications and a perennial crowd pleaser. It's also very useful for any timing needs you may have, or just for getting your kicks when you're bored. And the bottom line is, with hacking seconds, you can still set this one precisely to a reference time, if, for whatever reason, you want to have a backup timer for the reef or the rock. This Linde Werdelin SpidoSpeed Chronograph, one of 100 made, 44 millimeters in stainless steel, is a truly independent take on the oversized sports watch type. Again, only around since 2002, Linde Werdelin brought some blue sky ideals to the segment, and they've maintained integrity by keeping their runs very small. Typically you'll see runs in the 50s, the 80s, maybe 100 on occasion, but 13 years later, they have never sold out. They have never sold out to a luxury group that wanted to buy them and bring them into an umbrella company. They've never increased production. They've never flooded the market. They've never dumped them to gray market dealers. The bottom line is they've kept the supply very constrained, so when we have them, they tend to sell very quickly. We're fortunate to have received this watch from a collector in excellent shape, and if it sounds like the kind of watch that suits your idea of what a modern, upscale Swiss watch should be, check out this Linde Werdelin SpidoSpeed Chronograph on our website, Watch You Want.